Hulu series, but I made sure that I watched the first 2 episodes so that as I read an article about it, I have something to talk about. And what I do want to say is while the first episode is significantly worse and the second episode is significantly better than the first, King of the Hill's not back so far from what I've seen, chat. Because like my biggest gripe with King of the Hill right now is the way that Peggy is written. They got her written like she autistic or some shit. And like, while Peggy did have her moments where she did weird things in the older series, they just made her way more egotistical and self-centered. And like, Peggy did have her moments with her ego, but she wasn't as egotistical now, how she's written now in those 2 episodes that I've seen of this season versus how she was written way back then in the 90s or 2000s or whenever the original King of the Hill was airing and when it came out and talking about life at that time. Also, I know the original voice actor for Dale passed away, but we still gotta shoot the nigga that casted the new voice actor for Dale, because the original voice actor for Dale, I understand he wasn't doing a voice, he was just using his own voice, and that became what was iconically known as the character. But the new person, I'm not saying he has to be a one-to-one mimic of the dude's voice, but his shit sounds so drastically different. If I didn't know the information I knew about the original voice actor passing away, I would be like, yo bro, why does it sound like a different nigga? Because it clearly sounds like somebody different. Also, his writing is dog shit because they wrote him to be more stupid. If you watch the original show, technically it's the same part, but if you watch the OG King of the Hill, Dale is not a dumbass. He just ends up putting himself in stupid situations because he's so much of a pussy that's always paranoid. That being said though, overall, we'll read on and see. Let's put it like that. We'll read on and see. King of the Hill showrunner on writing Hank Hill for a different era. Also, that's another thing. I also felt like out of what I watched, it felt like they were trying to write for a modern day audience instead of just making the show. Like it felt like, okay, so one of the problems with bringing King of the Hill, one of the problems with bringing any show back is that sometimes a show is lightning in a bottle. So trying to re-spark that magic is never really gonna happen. So it's always gonna be different. Even if it's a good different, it's always gonna be different. But in this case, I feel like it's a bad different because King of the Hill was known as being such of a time capsule TV show, meaning it's a TV show that perfectly displayed how things were of the era without being like a real life sitcom. Like if you really want to get a peek, a vague idea of what the supposed typical normal life of any era is, there's probably some type of sitcom, whether it be from Disney, HBO, ABC, which at one time wasn't a part of Disney, guys. Ooh. But whatever channel it was part of, you usually could watch a sitcom. King of the Hill had the unique advantage of giving off that same energy while still being accurate. Like, it's plenty of people on YouTube that have explained this better than me, so you could go watch their videos. But King of the Hill works better as an animated show than a live action show for a large variety of reasons. But let's get to reading about the writing of Hank Hill and how they felt about it and how we feel about it. In an era of reboot, blah 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 blah, for the adult entertainment comedy. That's another misconception. If you pay attention to the OG King of the Hill, like, yeah, there's moments where they make references to more adult things, but it was never an adult show. It was more the show that signaled this is about to be the end of Family Hour. The little babies maybe shouldn't watching this, but your teens, they could definitely watch this. But we're about to get into more mature content after this. That's why it's the perfect show it was the perfect show to bridge the gap between kids cartoons in the day and adult oriented animation at night, because it wasn't a kids show at all, because it handled some more serious topics than a kid's show would ever think about touching. But at the same time, it wasn't strictly an adult show. More mature kids, like the teenagers, could watch it. So that sentence right there, it's not an adult animated show. And also, a lot of people have a misconception that because comedic moments happen in King of the Hill, that it's a comedy. It's not. It's not a show that tries to be funny. It's a show that just so happens to be funny. A lot of people don't understand the difference, but that's okay. I'm here to teach you. And unlike the go woke, go broke niggas, I don't have to smack you upside the head to teach you. But about a family living in a fictional town of Arlen, Texas. I never knew Arlen was fictional till today. Never cared to look, never give a fuck about Texas, just like they don't give a fuck about New York. On Fox in 97, the why begins at San Francisco, blah, 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 blah. The fan response was just so strong that they realized there was still an appetite for these characters. There will always be an appetite for all characters, even if it's something that doesn't require a sequel. Like, look at what's going on with Sinners right now. You got half the people who are Sinners saying we need a sequel, and half of them saying, actually, no, don't make a sequel. Leave it where it is. All we need is one movie. All we want is one movie. All we are accepting is one movie. You make a fucking sequel, WB, we will be on your head top. I think that's who makes Sinners, but that's not really important. You get my point. There are always memes online of niggas asking, I wonder how Hank Hill will respond to this. That's always a good sign. Capitalism wise. In terms of the vibe of what it is, nah. That journey to bringing back the show took 6 years from that moment to get a green light, and then 2 more to release it. In the meantime, well, yeah, I would imagine the Corbin Blue 19 pandemic messed it up. In the meantime, the series, which picks up with Hank Hill returning from a decade-long stint, blah, blah, blah. Nigga took a trip to Saudi Arabia. Patterson doesn't shy away from those things. I feel like their explanation as to why the show wasn't running for so long and why he's gone, I don't feel strongly about it. Like, I don't feel like this is the perfect explanation, but I also don't feel like it's a bad explanation. I'm just okay with it. Patterson doesn't shy away from those things on screen, in the writing, or off screen while talking about the returning series. Instead, he openly shares exactly how those things... Yeah, that's a great example of them turning Peggy into a dumbass bimbo. Like, in the OG series for King of the Hill, Peggy was shown as a very intelligent woman with a flawed ego, because it wasn't that Peggy was a brain dead bimbo idiot bitch and she was just running around being more confident than she should. No, she was actually an intelligent individual. She just often overestimated her skills, which got her into situations she otherwise shouldn't be in. She was never a dumbass in this situation where, if you're watching this video, you don't give a fuck about spoilers, but there's a scene where Bobby Hill is having a one-night stand after meeting a girl that basically said, yo, slide through to this party, after coming to his restaurant, and he went and he beat the Doonies down in her dorm room or whatever the fuck, right? And when he went to her dorm room and beat her Doonies down and shit, he butt dialed his mom at like 2-3 in the morning, and his mom is just sitting there. Peggy Hill's just sitting on the phone. Hello? What are those noises? What? Like, she's just sitting there like a dumbass, like she don't know what the sound of fucking sounds like. Like, she didn't fuck her husband for fucking years. Like, you don't, like, they're treating Peggy like she turned 70 and just forgot what everything before the year she turned 70 was about, besides general vague ideas like, oh, I love my husband, I'm confident in myself, overconfident. In fact, I like to blurt out shit sometimes. Like, a lot of the times in the OG series, in the OG seasons, when she blurted out stuff, it wasn't because she was a dumbass. It was because when she got nervous, that was her thing. Like, some people get nervous and sweat. Some people get nervous and start farting. She got nervous and start blurting shit she shouldn't be saying out. She was the type of person you don't tell her secret, because against her own will, she will tell other people your secret. That's the person Peggy is. Now they're just making her a dumbass bimbo. Like, I feel like the writers of this don't really I feel like they haven't watched all of the original 13 seasons. I feel like they watched a couple seasons here and there, and they watched a couple character study episodes and said, I know how Peggy is. I know exactly who Peggy is. And they wrote this dumb bitch who was somebody else. The result is a reboot that works to be both what the animated series always was, a satire. It wasn't a satire. Again, what the fuck? Again, with these comedy-oriented terms. King of the Hill was never a satire. It was never a comedy. It is a sitcom. It is a capsule. It is a timepiece. The goal of King of the Hill is not to make you laugh. The goal of King of the Hill is to show you what you see in an animated format. It's supposed to be a ground, down-to-earth family TV cartoon. It's not supposed to be a comedy. It has comedy, but their goal is not comedy. About a conservative father and his family in a small Texan town. I also want y'all to pay attention to that term conservative, because a lot of people don't have a really nuanced idea on the take of what being a conservative is. And most people think a conservative is a Trumpy. And no, it's not. And what the moment is in an organic and authentic way. King of the Hill was maybe about that common thread that maybe, nigga, it is. About that common thread that goes through all people. Voice star Toby tells THR and The Hollywood Reporter. And this reboot is about going back and revisiting these people and letting them sit in your life for half an hour at a time. And I think it's really blah blah blah. For King of the Hill special, I think we pretty much get the gist, because after this it goes into a really long ass interview that I'm not reading. But overall, to give a short little summary on how I feel about this King of the Hill reboot, so far I feel like it just exists. Like, I don't want to call it slop, but it's something to put out that's very low risk, low effort, high reward. You know, people want the shit, and as long as it isn't dog shit, they'll accept whatever the fuck you give them. So you're not gonna lose money making it, but they also know they're not gonna make millions making it, but they're definitely going to profit off of making it in terms of new signups for subscriptions or new temporary signups for subscriptions and stuff like that. It's cool, I guess. So in terms of my feeling, based off the first 2 episodes of season 14, it's a watch it whenever you get a chance to watch it. Who gives a fuck, bro? There's not a stop, drop, and roll and watch it right now show. If you watch this show 2 years from now or 2 minutes from now, it won't fucking matter. But with that being said, that is basically my thoughts and my basically mini review on King of the Hill. Don't be afraid to click over there for some more videos of me yapping about various things in culture and media. That being said, peace out, hoe ass, fuck ass, bitch ass, nasty ass, dirty ass nigga. And I ain't say it later, but don't forget, I ain't say this in a while, but don't forget to eat the booty like a bunny. Okay, bye.